DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
Once again, hello, Disc Jockey News and the presenter spotlight this evening. I'm Bill Herman. Thank you again for jumping in and being a part of this. Now, we're talking presenter spotlight. Why? Well, because many of you know the DJNTV is doing their first DJ show in coordination with Photo Booth Expo, and that's happening in February, the 24th, 25th, and 26th at the South Point Hotel in Las Vegas. And one of the presenters, and we've been talking to the presenters, and there's a lot of them this year. It's the first time that DJNTV has taken on the DJ side of this conference. So they really wanted to be sure they brought in a lot of faces, some of the older faces, some of the people that you've never met before, some people with some really incredible things to share. And one of those people is with us today. His name is Johnathan D.D. Simmons, standing for Dope D. Simmons, I guess.
I love it.
So Johnathan is known by a lot of people as a DJ Woo Pig.
That's me.
And we'll have to get into that and where that came from. But he's going to be speaking at the conference. Let me just tell you exactly when. I think that what I have for you is on Wednesday, or no. I've got you on Tuesday. Tuesday at 3:00.
Nice.
He's going to be sharing a bunch of tips on how on growing your business for 2020. And those of us that have seen the changes, there's been a lot of changes in just the last 5 years when it comes to growing any kind of a business, much less a DJ business. And Jonathan's been doing some pretty incredible things. He's got a DJ business and he's got a production business, and he's doing really well. And he's going to be sharing a lot of that with us. But first, before we get to what you're going to be talking about, I'd like to know a little bit about you. I mean, sure. You've been a DJ your whole life, or something else?
I would say, at least in my adult years, I've been a DJ for that entire time. Backstory: I'm young. I'm 30 years old. I turned 31 this year in 2020.
Oh my gosh, me too. That's great.
Fantastic. We look great, don't we?
Thanks.
We look great.
I moisturize.
But I started DJing just as soon as I got to college. My college roommate was also a DJ, heavy in the club scene. And I went to college on a band scholarship. I've been a drummer my entire life. My mother,
gosh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, my mother played saxophone. Very cool. See, drumming and DJing just goes hand in hand.
It really does.
My mother played saxophone. My father was a trumpet player. So music has been in my blood forever. Playing drums, in my church since 5 or 6 now, which is kind of crazy to say. I've been playing drums 25 years, and
Your
I'm
mom and
only.
dad, were they professional musicians?
My dad played a little bit. We're right up the road from Memphis. He played kind of in the jazz circuit. That
Awesome.
was his bag. My mother, she's a nurse. She kind of she played and then gave it up, but she was always real heavy into the arts. She pushed that on me as soon as I kind of took a knack for it. She knew
Yeah.
that something was there, and I'm glad she let that cultivate, because if it wasn't for playing drums back when I was 5 years old in church growing up, I probably wouldn't be DJing today, or at least wouldn't be involved in the music,
Well,
industry, business, that
and
type.
you went to college on a scholarship for that.
Yeah. I'm a classically trained jazz drummer. So
Wow.
I did marching band from sixth grade up to high school, and I even did a couple semesters of marching band in college. But being behind the drum set is where I'm most comfortable. So that's kind of where that gravitated. I went to school. Went to school just to play music, essentially. I was earning a degree in journalism, but I knew, it probably wasn't gonna, I did that probably because I had to, not necessarily because that's where I saw myself going.
Yeah. So now your roommate was a DJ, and was that the first time you even considered the idea of that?
First time I'd ever even, I am a homebody. So even like going out to nightclubs and social events, it wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
And then, this DJ he was from New Orleans. We set up in the dorm, and his dad was a DJ. So we're moving in the first day, and I'm kind of I'm thinking it's computer equipment, but he starts bringing in big speakers, and I'm like, my goodness, we're about to have a good time. And he'd been DJing since he was about 14 years old with his dad. And really, whenever I was in that dorm, I kind of took over his stuff. I wanted to learn all about it. If he was at class, I was like, hey, David, do you mind if I kind of mess around on your stuff? And that's where it took off. And since I've been 18, I've been DJing. I've been spinning records and trying to entertain people and just having a good time. That's the biggest part of it. I
Now,
enjoy.
you learned that in the dorm room with this guy who DJ'd himself. Did he had a little company, or
His
what was the first I'm
his
getting paid thing you did?
Right. So his dad had a company in New Orleans, and I
Yeah.
think his dad kind of did some college party DJing back when he was in school. So he sent him with some equipment in the hopes that if you're good enough, maybe some of the fraternities on campus or even in the dorm, they would pay you to spin music.
Right.
And he was really good. And that's kind of where it all jumped off. I wouldn't necessarily say that he had a business, stepping out of college, but I think the intention was either A, to make some money, or B, to attract some ladies. We'll just say
that's why I started doing it. This, I was a drummer because the only thing I could do well, and I was trying to meet girls, and then when that didn't work.
Yeah, there you go.
And I can't play nothing else. I mean, it's chicks and beer, man. That's what I did. So, I mean, do you remember your first paid gig?
Yes, I do. It was a terrible, terrible event. I show up, and I've got some big carving speakers. At this time, me and my roommate had kind of parted ways. We just got split up in different dorms. So at this time, we will go to my sophomore year of school. I ended up purchasing a Hercules RMX controller. I worked at Walmart while I was kind of going through school. I purchased a Hercules controller. I purchased some old carving speakers off of Craigslist, and I got. When you're in college and you don't really have much to do, because studying, I'm just going to be honest, studying wasn't my main concern. I got pretty decent. So some fraternities called and needed a party DJ, and that's who I am. So I go down there. I set up. I am nervous, shaking nervous. What am I going to play? Do I have enough music? And if these people going to like me? Am I going to get paid? That's another concern too. And the party starts, and of course, college kids are never on time. I think the party started around 11 o'clock. It really didn't get going until about 1 o'clock, and there's maybe 50 people there. Party gets going for about 30 minutes. Fight breaks out. Party's over. So was
you did a 30-minute set.
30-minute set, and I killed that 30-minute set. And you can't tell me any different. I demolished the room. It was fantastic. No, it wasn't, but that's what I tell everyone.
So, and with that horrible experience, you went, I'm doing this again.
I'm doing it again, and I didn't even get paid. There, at the time, I wasn't a business guy. They're like, well, you only played about 30 minutes. Not a lot of people showed up. It's getting shut down. We've got some expenses to pay. We'll just catch up with you.
Oh, and
I'm
that's
like, yeah, man,
fault.
just give me a call. If you need a DJ, I'm your guy. And like a dummy, I went out again, just trying to get paid and gain experience and have fun.
Yeah. So that was, you're a sophomore in college.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you're not studying your journalism stuff, or at least you're not that interested in it. You're still playing music, your scholarship, and you're DJing whenever you can.
Yep.
When did you decide that you wanted to turn this into something else? Or did you leave college and take a different job, or did you leave college with the idea of starting your own thing?
I left college. I got my degree in journalism. I had an internship at a local radio station. Mm-hmm. When I got out, they said, we want you. You're a great fit. You've got a good personality. You listen and follow instructions, which is hard to find these days. And the one thing that I've always been told is, deep down inside, I'm a 65-year-old man. I just want to be respected and respect other people. It's that simple. And they said, yeah, we'd love to have you on. And it all sounded great. I really enjoyed the job. And then it got down to the talks of money. And they said, well, we can pay you. How does $21,000 a year sound? And mind you, this is back in 2010. 2010. $21,000 wasn't a lot, in 1999.
Well, it's not a lot back. I mean, I remember my first salary was like $18,000, and that was way before 2000s. Right. So radio's just been, you don't get into radio because you want to make money.
Right.
You're going to own a radio station, right?
Exactly. So I thought that I would be a hot shot radio DJ and rise to the top. That my dreams were crushed, and that's okay. That's okay. So I got out of the journalism bag, got into retail, hated it. But I was still DJing on the side. That was always something that it's never stopped from 2007 until now. I've been playing music on the weekends for the vast majority of that. I was still doing retail. Fast forward, got into retail management, then got into pharmaceutical sales, made really good money. But I didn't enjoy what I did. And there's a poster right back there on the wall. Mm-hmm. That's my wife got that for me about 5 years ago. That was the day that we had a talk. Me and my wife had a quote unquote come to Jesus meeting. I was gone all the time. She didn't like it. I didn't like it. She said, something's got to give. You're making good money being a DJ. Why don't you just chase that dream for a little bit? We were at the time, we were what you call dinks, dual income, no kids. Mm-hmm. She had a good job. I was making good money. Let's just see what happens. And 5 years later, it's worked out well as being a full-time entrepreneur and DJ.
Thank God for our women, right? I mean, that's pretty much.
They are much smarter than we are. Deep down inside, I am an oaf. My wife keeps me in check.
Yeah, no, that's not deep down inside for me at all. It's just all over. It's just smeared all over his oaf.
Yeah.
So you started this, you said about 5 years ago then.
Yeah. So I would say, as a full-time entertainer, businessman, entrepreneur, 5 years is all I've had to focus on is my company, which is Crown Entertainment. Before then, I was bivocational, doing a lot of events, but you work a Monday through Friday job, 9 to 5. And then you get home and you're trying to run the back end of a business. Saturday, you're DJing. Sunday, I'm still, pretty heavily involved in my church, playing drums and stuff like that. There's no break. And my wife, she said something's got to give. So, 5 years ago, made the jump, and here we are.
So now, what was the first step? Do you remember? I mean, were you ready did you know, like, I know how to run a business. I got this.
No. I am an oaf. On any DJ forum, whether it be, like the DJ idea sharing or networking or whatever, if someone makes a comment, what is the first thing I should do when looking to do this full time? You will always see me respond. The first thing you need is a good CPA. The second thing you need is a good attorney. And I know this because I've had to use both of them. I was totally not ready. But one thing that I'm a dreamer, and luckily my wife allowed that ember to burn, because I'll get out and I'll make a mistake. And the one thing that I pride myself in is not giving up when you face adversity. Figure out a way to maneuver over it and get through it and keep going. So 5 years ago, I was just trying to get by. I was making decent money on the weekends, being a DJ, and I was putting a little money back for taxes, and I had insurance, so I thought I was okay. And then a year later, the IRS comes knocking on your door. Hey, so let's talk about your finances from the past 5 years. And you have those conversations, which are tough, but we soldier on. And then you have an insurance claim because you thought you knew you had to do something, and it turns out you didn't, and your insurance didn't cover you. So now you got to call your attorney. I've learned from many mistakes. I am no one special. I'm just trying to teach people the right way to do something, because I don't want somebody to make the same mistakes that I did.
Well, I think a lot of people can really relate. A lot of guys that have been in this business even as many as 2 years can relate to this story. I mean, this is not just a DJ thing. This is a micro solo entrepreneur business thing. Everybody comes out of a job and says, "Hey, I can do this job, and I don't gotta answer to my boss, and I could make more money because he's only giving me a portion of it anyway."
Good luck.
So yeah, exactly. So, and everybody thinks that way, and everybody runs into it headlong. And I agree with you. I think the people that do best are the ones that have I'm not going to give up. The ones that are going to, look, the business, no matter how good you are at business, no matter how, well, it may be less if you have like a really big business degree, but honestly, in the first couple of years of any business, you just get smacked around.
You're just trying to get by.
That's just the thing.
You're just trying to get by.
Right. And you gotta learn from those things, and you gotta not give up. You gotta go, well, that sucked, but I learned a lot, and now I'm going to make some changes, and I'm going to soldier on.
Yeah.
And those people usually have DJ business 5, 10, 15 years later. Yeah. The other people, because they're getting smacked around in that first 5 years, they're not doing it for much longer. They're going to go working for somebody like you, right?
And I love those guys. Don't get me wrong.
Right. No, I don't get me wrong either. But and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. What I'm saying is there's a not give up thing that keeps the people in the business, the owners stay in the business.
Yeah.
I think I even heard, I'm not think, but I took a comedy class from Louis Anderson years ago. And Louis Anderson, he's from Minnesota, and he's a national DJ, a national comedian. And one of the things that stuck with me from the very last day was that, you're trying to make a name for yourself as a entertainer. You're not necessarily going to be famous, but everybody gets a shot. Everybody gets a shot at being successful. So here's the thing: you're waiting in line to be successful. Everybody is in line waiting to get successful. The guys who don't get successful, the ones who get out of line.
Yeah, because you're that much closer.
Back in line, and they got to start all over.
All over. Yep, you're
right.
Exactly right.
So if you stay in line, if you don't give up, and you just learn from your mistakes, and and go headline at them, because the more mistakes you make in the first 5 years, the better you're going to get, and faster you're going to get there.
They're a lot easier to recover from in the first 5 years, especially. You get in the
just
years
easier to recover from. Period.
Right.
People think it's not. Oh my gosh, if this happens, I'm the end of the world. Yeah. Okay. So talk to a guy who's been in the business in any kind of business for more than 5 years, and he'll tell you some horrific stories that he went, yeah, it seemed like it was going to be bad, but it was what it was, and I made my way.
Yeah. You're exactly right. You're exactly right.
Plus, if you want to keep it going, there's a lot of people that'll use those mistakes and those horrible things just to get out of a thing they're not really passionate about anyway.
Really passionate about. And I think that's one of those things that you gotta be passionate about this. I know some guys that they're DJing just because they're making $500-600 on the weekend, and it's a means to an end. You're not going to have longevity in any business if you're not passionate about it.
Right.
And with me moving myself over more into the production realm, I've always been a fan of bright lights and big sound and concerts and just in your face music. That's not what we get at weddings. Being a wedding DJ is awesome, but I can't say I fell out of love with it. But it just, I'm maturing into something else. Now I still have a great staff of DJs that work really hard, and they love weddings. They don't care anything about doing concerts and conventions and things like that. So they enjoy that, and I do my own thing, and somehow I managed to make all this work.
So now let me back you up a little bit, because you started your thing, and was the goal from the beginning to just do this for a living, or was it, I'm going to have a big company, I was going to have a lot of guys, or was it, I'm going to try to make a living just doing it on my own?
My goal, since I, kind of started this, I would say professionally, say, I've been doing it professionally, let's say about 10 years or so, where I was still bivocational. My end goal has always been to work for myself.
Right.
And all entrepreneurs will tell you this. I have a problem with people telling me what to do, and I hate to say it, but I do. I like being my own boss. Coming into my office at 6 o'clock in the morning, turning on some music, brewing a pot of coffee, and just sitting here in my little place of zen is fantastic. 10 years ago, this is exactly where I wanted to be, and I've worked to get here, and I'm not done. But the end goal was always to do it for myself. I never thought that I would have a team of guys that I employ to go out and handle these events. I never thought that I would be the production company behind some pretty large concerts and shows and conventions. I never dreamt that. But to be honest with you, in the back of my mind, I kind of always knew that this is where it was going to happen. And I was either going to try or I was going to fall on my face, but I'm not going to bed until I try. That's the main thing. You got to give it some effort. And luckily it's worked out fantastic. I'll be the first one to tell you, you can't do it by yourself. I've got a right-hand man who I depend on heavily.
So now let's go back. So now, when did you realize that? Because I know people don't go and work for themselves and say, now I need to have somebody to help me.
Right.
It's like, I got this, right? And there's a point where you do that. And then the next point I want you to go to is when did you decide that you were going to be more than just you? You were going to get employees. And how frightening was that? And how did you first start it?
Right. So I first realized within maybe the first 2 months of being on my own that I needed someone else, because the end goal was always to quit my day job, move into doing this full time, because if I've got this time, I can manage the business, and then I figured out really fast, in order to grow this business, I've got to be growing the business and not worrying about the back end problems. We were on the line with John Young earlier, and he was talking about the expo and just troubleshooting, having someone there to take care of the client while you're out trying to grow your business. I realized that really fast, thankfully. And then
and how did you find that person?
It's actually one of my best friends.
Okay, so
He's almost
somebody. I found it a trusted advisor, a trusted friend.
right. And he's been a part of my family for a long time. People that watch my YouTube videos know him. He's like family to me.
Right.
And luckily I was blessed with someone like that. And a lot of people don't have that necessarily that situation, but you've got to go out and find that person.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people will tell you to never go in business with your family and never go in business with close friends. You don't have to give them a portion of the business, but if you've got someone that you trust and you've got a game plan and you're passionate about something, it's easy to explain to someone that this is where we're trying to get, and I can't do it without you.
That's one thing I want to be sure before we move on that people heard the word, if you have a game plan. And
right.
I'll come back to that. And or you come out to Vegas and you hear him talk more about that, because that game plan, regardless of what anything you want to do, you come up with dreams about everything, but without a game plan,
you got nothing.
You got, well, I don't know if you don't got nothing, but it's certainly, you can't move with the kind of velocity you want to. That's for sure.
The road is much harder to navigate.
Oh yeah.
If you don't have a plan. And even, I've about a year ago, I had a meeting with my bank trying to get some financial stuff figured out as we grow, where you need a little help. My banker, he knows me. I come in all the time. He knows that I'm young, but I took him out to lunch and I said, well, this is what I'm trying to do. And this is where I'm trying to get to. And, it's a casual lunch. He walks in, sits down and as soon as he sits down, I kind of slide my PDF over and I say, this is what I'm trying to do. And I had it mapped out. And he said, man, you kind of blindsided me here. You're 30 years old and you've got it better. You've got it put together better than some guys that I've seen in business for 5 or 10, 15 years. I said, well, I know what I'm trying to do. I know I can't do it without you. So if somebody brings a proposal to me, I know I want to be as ready as possible to explain what I got going on. Because if I can't explain it, and make you a believer, then it's going to be that much harder for you to, put forth effort into my.
Well, and that right there, what you're saying, what the banker said to you at that lunch, that's I think probably one of the most interesting things about you that John was talking about when he thought about having you be a part of this, is that people your age, especially in this business, do not have a story like, I had a real plan. I mean, a real plan, not a plan in my head. The kind of plan I had when I used to go to the club on a Friday night because I had a gig, and the plan was, well, if I can get a couple beers about this time of the night, I know that girl, she's going to come in. That's a plan. That's a plan. Okay. But the kind of plan you're talking about is really the kind of plan that creates success. And I think that's one of the things that people are going to find out about you. And one of the things I think that if people are listening to this will have it so that they're going to want to go at 3:00 on that Tuesday and be sure that they sit and listen to what you have to share, because
I'm excited. You got me.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
I'm gonna run through this brick wall right here.
From being your own boss to taking on somebody to help, and to how many employees do you have now?
I've got I've got 5 DJs, and then on the production side, I bring in stagehands and part-time help. Like this past New Year's Eve, we did a pretty big outdoor show for my hometown. It was the first ball drop in Arkansas history. We had lasers and full sound rig and 3 DJs and big, it's a big time show. That show we had about 10 people on staff that night. So up to 10, 11 or 12, if I'm bringing in, stagehands from our local stagehand union. But I've got 5 guys that go out and DJ. I'm here, at the office 9/10 of the time. And then I've got a part-time guy that comes in and helps as well.
Now, it looks like you've kind of taken over the world over there. Are you on your way to something bigger?
All right.
Than even what you're talking about?
Everyone in this business, if they are a smart person, they know a guy by the name of Ben Stowe.
Interesting.
Yeah, everybody knows Ben.
I'm going to write that name down.
Write that name down.
Look that up.
You may or may not have heard of him. Ben Stowe, great guy. I've never met the guy. That's part of the reason why I'm so excited to come to this conference. I want to meet Ben Stowe, shake his hand. I've had many, email conversations with them and Facebook message streams back and forth. And we've even got some mutual friends that are friends in common. But I watch people like Ben Stowe who he gives back so much, and he doesn't have to. But not only does he give back to the industry, he runs a multi-million-dollar production company.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not talking mom and pop acts from the 70s. We're talking A-level touring artists.
Yeah.
I would love.
And sports artists and sports
sports teams. And, he
mm-hmm.
does some
Stadiums.
major stuff.
Yeah.
That is where I would love to see myself in the next 15, 20 years. That's the end goal for me. But at the same time, I would love to keep, I'd love to have about 8 to 10 DJs on staff. I think that's a small enough number where you can really still keep that personal touch with your clients, still keep a small enough, tight-knit, family-oriented group of people where they want to see your business succeed as much as they want to succeed. And I still want to be able to give back to this industry. I started making YouTube videos 10 years ago, somewhere around there. Really got serious with it 5-6 years ago, and it was all DJ content. What's working for me, what's not working for me, and gear and everything else. I like, and it's kind of dumb because I don't owe anybody nothing, just like nobody owes me anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like when you give, you receive much more than you give.
Oh,
and
that's very true.
Every time that I put out a video of explaining something that, somebody is having some trouble with or needs some help with, I get emails that, these people bombard me with stuff, but they're so thankful. And that at the end of the day, I'm not doing it to receive thanks or gain notoriety. I'm out here trying to help people because I've been in those situations before. Even though I've only been doing this a short amount of time, there's guys that have been doing it much longer than I have. But I feel like everybody has a fresh perspective and can give advice and feedback on common situations.
Okay, we don't have a lot of time left, and I'm quite sure there's going to be a lot of people sitting in your session if they're listening to this at all, because it's going to be very cool. But I have to know, what's the story behind Woo Pig?
All right,
DJ Woo Pig.
DJ
you got a great
Woo
name,
Pig.
Johnathan Simmons, and
there's only
name.
There's only one. There's only one DJ Woo Pig
true.
on this planet.
Well, not that we don't know yet. I mean, we might find one.
We might. So I am from Arkansas, the natural state.
Yeah.
Our big football team, the University of Arkansas, they are the Razorbacks.
Yeah.
And our calling card is we do a Woo Pig Suey at every game. I'm a big sports guy. I played a little football. My football years were sidelined due to injury, which is why music is where I kind of pursued.
Gotcha.
But I'm still a huge fan. And my roommate, my college roommate, being from New Orleans, he didn't get it, but he knew I was into football. And he's like, man, I gotta give you a stage name. He's like, what about, you're in the Hogs. What about DJ Razorback? And I was like, that sounds kind of cheesy. He said, what about DJ Woo Pig Suey? And I was like, I don't really like that either. But every time he would introduce me to one of his DJ buddies or some of his family back home, when his dad came up to visit, he's like, hey man, Dad, I'm training. This is the newest DJ Woo Pig Suey. He's like, this is my, I'm taking him under my wing type thing.
So you were named.
I was named that, and it kind of just stuck. We left the Suey because it gets a little wordy.
Yeah.
Now people call me DJ Woo Pig, and I love it. And it's kind of, I wish I would have, 5 years ago, I wish I would have just done a total name rebrand. Cause now when we're doing, like New Year's Eve, it's a $15,000-$20,000 show, and I'm getting there to be signed. They're like, so who's going to be DJing? And I lay out the DJs. And I said, well, I'm gonna bring in the new year. I'll do the 11 to 12 set. And they're like, okay. So we've got DJ, DJ Crow is one of my guys. DJ B Rush is one of my guys. And they're like, so do you have a stage name? And I said, you can just call me John Simmons. And one of the guys in the back who knows me, he's like, that's DJ Woo Pig. And I was like, it's hard to keep a straight face when they're signing a check for tens of thousands of dollars and you're going by DJ Woo Pig. But it's
at this point, you ought to just go all in.
Here's
double
where
down and have every time you walk into a building, a whole room go Woo Pig.
Bill, it sounds like I need to recruit you to come cheer me on. It's perfect. It's perfect.
I'll do all your set voiceovers, man.
I love it.
No problem. DJ Woo Pig.
I love it. Let's record that. I'll use it.
I love you, man. That's great. I'm really excited to meet you in person, and I've been looking forward to talking to you. If it's the first time you've seen Johnathan, then where you been? He's got this YouTube channel, does really well. Just go in there and Google DJ Woo Pig and or Johnathan Simmons. Also, remember, he's going to be at the DJNTV conference. He's going to be on stage 3:00 on Tuesday, but he'll be all around. So he's he just told you, he's going to take a lot of time to spend a lot of time with anybody who has any questions, and he'll be there too. Like we all are. To be able to sink in and be a part of and learn from all of you as well. Yep. That's what's so great about this conference. This is really a family conference with colleagues coming around and being around to really make it a connective friend thing. And that's really the goal of this whole conference. So we want to be sure and of course, Johnathan is just one of those guys that we're just going to fit into it really perfectly. Now, if you've not got your tickets yet, all you got to do is go to djntv.com/tickets. Okay. And you want to know more about the conference, it's djntv.com/show, I believe. But check in on any one of those. The tickets are really good rate right now if you use DJNTV 2020 as your promo code, and the best sale ticket you can get. And you'll use that if you use that as the promo code. But, it's coming up. And I know a lot of you are still sitting on your hands about, well, do I want to? Can I? Let me tell you, there's a lot of times to go to Vegas. And if you're going to go to Vegas, February during this time is probably going to be one of the least expensive ways to do it. You're going to be at one of the nicest hotels in Vegas. It's a little bit off the strip, but it's clean, it's nice, it's really great. And if you ever thought about getting into photo booths and the photo booth business, that photo booth conference that we're doing this in coordination with is something extraordinary. There's going to be a ton of people there, and you should be too. So this is Presenter Spotlight. Thank you again, Johnathan, for being a part of this. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate y'all.
You keep your eye on the lives here at DJNTV. You will see way more of these Presenter Spotlights as we get closer to the show. I'm Bill Herman, and we will see you next time on DJNTV.
Later.